Okay, there we go. Apologize, I was on mute. Well, good morning to everybody. This is Diondre Borel with Get Fit Mind, Body, and Soul. I'm very grateful for today and thankful for today. I'm in this beautiful city of Memphis, Tennessee. Man, I'm so excited. This week has been a journey, and I hope everyone that's in this show and watching, if you've been through a journey or had some ups and downs, just know that everything will be okay. I am a man of God, former NFL pro, impact speaker, and a business owner for the business under Create Elite LLC, that is Performance Health and Wellness. So today, I wanted to talk about physical injury and how to overcome it. I'm not sure if I have the article in the chat right now, but there we go. Kobe Bryant, orthopedic surgeon, discusses stars Achilles tendon and knee injuries. So, as we know, Kobe Bryant, rest his soul, great athlete, great mindset, powerful man, walked in power, played in power, spoke in power, and he's a believer in God. So, I truly believe that's where he got his power from. Just talking about that calf muscle, um, I'm sure all of you know when he tore his Achilles tendon, he got back up and shot the free throws before he walked off the court. And he was able to walk under his own power. So, just that process of the Achilles tendon and how strong that tendon is, that is the strongest tendon we have in our body. Okay. That calf muscle that's above the tendon helps you jump, cut, run. Your ankles are attached to your tendons. There's tendons around your ankles, and that holds your body up. So in that, think about how powerful that is with your own life, right? If you dealt with an injury or an Achilles tendon injury, that is your foundation. Okay, your calf muscle, your tendons are your foundation. I myself had tore my Achilles in 2018, and the recovery for that Achilles tendon is about 8 months to 12 months, so 8 months to a year. And just the mindset you have to have through injury, right? Through injury, through the process. Will you be able to play again? Will you be able to run as fast again? Will you be able to jump again? Right? And this is in the sports world. Okay, maybe not, maybe those that aren't playing sports or in sports go through those things. Just the toughness that you must have in the mind and just your spirit. You know, sometimes when you get injured, it breaks down your spirit. Just for me, when I tore my Achilles in 2018, I can give my testimony on here on Yumi Radio. Man, it was amazing. There were some things in miscommunication. I felt like it was a miscommunication at that time, and I was at work, and there was pain in my Achilles tendon. So I was playing with this Achilles tendon pain for about maybe 3 or 4 years, and I was able to run, jump, and cut. And one day I asked God, I said, "Man, I don't want to deal with this pain anymore." So probably maybe like a year later, a few months later, I get a phone call, and I'm calling a coach or a friend of mine that he works with agents. And I give him a call, and he's just guiding me in the right direction. But I give him a phone number, and he uses the number for somebody else. So I was upset that day, and I just sat in the car at work, and I said, God, I'm just afraid, and I don't know what I'm afraid of. So I cried, cried, cried. And then I got out the car. I said, God, I'm not afraid anymore. So 2 weeks later, I did a tryout for the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. I knew that I was going to not make, but I knew I was going to go into camp. If I finished the tryout, I was going to go into camp. So I was running fast as I've ever ran before, jumped as high as I ever jumped before. I was throwing the football, playing quarterback, and running routes. And it wasn't hurting that day. My Achilles tendon wasn't hurting that day. And, you know, I took off, I ran, I heard the pop, I was laying on the ground. I was like, wow, it didn't hurt. But in my mind, I was like, well, why is this happening? I'm like, man, I was going to be able to go into training camp with this team. So I drove home, had to drive home. Thank God it wasn't my driving foot. I drove home about 45 minutes, went to the doctor, got the crutches. And 2 weeks later, I ended up having surgery. So it was a torn Achilles tendon. And the recovery um, was great. It was big. I had a piece of bone in my tendon. So all along, I've been running, jumping, and cutting, and I had a piece of bone in my tendon. So it was probably like the size of a dime or maybe a little bit bigger. So, of course, they say that the injury is tough to come back from, right? You may not be able to run as fast, jump as high, cut as good. Um, you may not be able to perform as well. So, after that recovery, I just knew when they took the bone out, I was like, well, if I was able to play with the bone in there and they take it out and it recovers the way it needs to, I'll be able to do everything a lot better than what I was doing before. So then a year goes by in 2019, I decide that I'm going to go play quarterback again instead of wide receiver. So I do some more CFL tryouts again. One of my former teammates, we had a conversation. His name is Robert Turbin. I definitely will get him in the show for you guys. He's a former Super Bowl champion, played with the Seattle Seahawks, the Colts, the Browns, and the Cowboys. So we'll get him in here. But he was like, DeAndre, why don't you play quarterback again? And I thought to myself, wow, I should play quarterback again. He's like, you're a facilitator. I'm thinking in my head, okay, cool. So I do the tryouts for 4 weeks straight. And then how this happened was a former teammate of mine from high school played in Finland. There was a former teammate of his that was playing in Finland, called an agent that was in LA. The agent calls me and says they're looking for a quarterback. So then I was like, okay, when do I go out there? And I ended up going out there in May. And that was like a short notice. It was about a week and a half notice. And just that season of playing quarterback, I played the whole season. I threw about 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And that was my best season of playing quarterback. Better than college. It was better than me playing wide receiver. It was just my best season. I was stronger, I was faster, I was understanding my teammates, I was learning my teammates, I was calling my own plays. It was just an amazing feeling to be able to uh, come back from that injury um, and not worry about it. I think the first play I had, I ran to my left and cut off my left foot. So I was a little bit nervous. I didn't think I was, but until I made that cut, I was perfectly fine. During the rehab and the physical therapy, I was playing a lot of basketball, probably about month 8, just to test it. And, it felt pretty good. It felt stronger. I felt more agile. I felt like I had more balance. So, with that being said, your mindset through injury is important and how you go about it. Um, there may be ups and downs, with yourself right now, with the physical injuries that you may have had. Maybe you're injured right now. Maybe you're at home. Maybe you're trying to see, um, how to come back from that injury. And it takes that mindset and to know that it's a rebuild, right? So with my business, my mission statement, how it starts off is our mission is to redesign and build a new foundation. So anytime you have a physical injury, you can always build a new foundation. You can always redesign it and build a new foundation. So with your body, you can do that physically. With your mind, you can do that. With your spirit, you can do that. You can always go back and do it again. You can always change, right? You can always learn. So just understanding that with yourself um, is very key. And it was something that I went through, something that uh, was tough for me. The injury, it was like, wow, I can't do much. I have to sit down. I must sit down. And I didn't want to sit down, but I did go to the gym a lot. And I still worked out with the cast. They told me not to work out. I still worked out with the cast. I still lifted weights. I did what I could to work around it until that cast came off, and then it was a wrap from there. I just had fun with it, and I was able to play quarterback and do the things that I love to do. So during that process, man, it's always a spiritual healing, a mental healing, a physical healing. So I'm just very grateful for that in that moment, in those times that I went through, to be able to build and grow and build a new foundation with myself. So let me see. Let me take a look at these notes. So yes, yeah, just with anything in your life, if you have a physical injury, right, you can always come back from it. But just going back to that calf muscle, uh, your tendon is the strongest. That Achilles tendon is the strongest tendon in your body. So without that tendon, you have no balance. If you tear that tendon, you can't walk. If you tear that tendon, you can't run. If you tear that tendon, you can't jump. If you tear that tendon, you can't do anything. There's no balance. So, with your physical balance of tearing that tendon, think about your spiritual balance and your spiritual peace, right? I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. I thank God in everything that I do or for everything that He does for me. And I thank Him for Him being Him to me and just for loving me. So I thank God and put God over everything that I do. So think about your balance, right? Your peace, your foundation. Okay. Jesus is my foundation. So think about your Achilles tendon. That's your foundation. That's the strongest tendon, right? If you're a believer in Jesus Christ, that's your strongest foundation. That's your tendon right there. So however you build on that house will determine how that house becomes, right? So physical world, if you are struggling, if you're wanting to lose weight, if you're not doing the proper things, right? That tendon can only hold so much. And that foundation just, it's still there, but you tear everything above it. And now you're back to square one. You still have that foundation. It just needs to be connected again, reattached, okay, but connected, right? Stay connected to the foundation. So, whatever you're building on your foundation spiritually, just make sure it's the right thing. Make sure that, God is above everything if that's what you believe in, because I know for me, that's what it is. God is above me and He takes care of me, and that's my foundation. Jesus is my foundation. That's my tendon. That's my Achilles tendon. And even if I fall down, He'll still pick me up and bring me through. So I'm so grateful for that, and I appreciate that. So just think about that in the spiritual part, in the spiritual realm. Who is your foundation? What is your foundation? And in the physical realm, what are you building your foundation on? Right? What are you building your foundation on? So all that weight, all those burdens, all those struggles, right? You're putting pressure on that foundation, and it can only hold so much, with your physical body. It can only hold so much. So I'm just very thankful for that part of my life, seeing that, and putting those things together like, wow, the Achilles tendon is the strongest tendon. Look how powerful that is. How, in sports, we're running and jumping and cutting, but think about how powerful it is for those that aren't playing sports. You have that Achilles tendon. You have that same tendon. That's how powerful you are. You were born with the same tendon, and you can always strengthen that tendon. You can always strengthen everything above it and strengthen that tendon. And Jesus is always going to be strong no matter what. So just know when you fall down, you can always rebuild yourself and redesign yourself. And I wanted to read this verse. It's Matthew 7:24. 7:24. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down. This is verse 25. The streams rose and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. So, camera just fell. So, just in that, apologize for that. So, just in that, Jesus is the rock, right? Your tendon is that rock. So it's so strong, it's so powerful, but you must build on it. Okay. Build on your physical body, build on your mind, build on your spirit. So it stays firm, stays strong. So even when you are feeling anxious or you're struggling or you're having a mental battle, you still have that foundation. You're able to fight through it and push through it because you're building up that strength. You're building up that strength. You're doing the work to hold up your body. You're doing the work to strengthen your spirit. You're doing the work to strengthen your mind. I'll go back to Kobe, right? Look at how he played basketball. Look at how he um, performed, right? Look at how he performed. He did everything he could from mental, physical, spiritual, taking care of everything, right? He is more than just a basketball player. He's more than just an NBA player. He's more than just an NBA Hall of Famer, right? He is a human being and he is a man of God. And that's how powerful he is. So, every single one of you on this radio show, everyone that is a part of the weekend show, that has their own segment, you guys have that same power. I have that same power. We all have that same power, and we're here on this show to understand each other, to love each other, to learn from each other. Um, it's just that power. When I look at Kobe Bryant, I don't see him as an NBA player. I just see him as a world changer. And that's just a beautiful thing to me. A world changer. That's who he is. A world changer because it wasn't just basketball. He focused on every area of his life, mental, spiritual, and the physical. And he knew how to do it at a high level. So think about that. That's why he performed. It wasn't just his physical, it was his inner man, his inner spirit, his inner strength, his inner mind, his mind. So I see myself as that, and every one of you on here should see yourself as that person as well, because you have the ability to do it. So I wanted to ask a couple questions for the people that are watching. If anyone wants to comment, put in the chat. Um, so what are your daily workout routines? If people want to comment below, leave it in the chat. What are your daily workout routines? I know for me, daily routine or daily workout routine, I always wake up, I pray, I read at least a verse from the Bible. I'll probably pray again, and then I get ready to go. And I do like to work out outside. So if anything, I'll go outside first. I'll run, jog, sprint, go outside, and then I'll go into the gym and do total body, which is upper body, lower body, or some days I'll go upper body, some days I'll go lower body. Some days I'll just stretch. Some days I'll just do some endurance work and flush out my soreness, lactic acid. So lactic acid is just a buildup, that soreness that you get. So sometimes I'll do some light jogging and some stretching just to get away, take away that soreness. So those are my daily routines when it comes to working out, as well as physical injury that anyone has had. Has anybody had a physical injury? Yumi Radio, the weekend show, you could drop it in the chat as well or comment. Any of you that's had a physical injury and what that felt like and how it affected your mind and your physical body and your spirit. Just for me, of course, I just spoke about the Achilles tendon injury and pray, journal, workout, alternate lower upper body, focusing on weight gain and strength. All right, Jesse, I know I said I was going to contact you, but I know after today I'm going to contact you and make sure we get this going. How did I get so confident? Man, I just feel like when I was a kid, when I was about 10 years old, I just always knew I could play sports. I always knew that I could play professionally. It was something that I seen and I ran with it, and I was just like, I believe it. And it didn't matter what anybody said to me. It didn't matter what a teacher said. It didn't matter what a kid said. It didn't matter what a random adult said. I just kept believing for playing at that high level. And I really just believe it came from God. Like He gave me the confidence and gave me the faith at a young age. And I probably didn't realize it or recognize it. But just staying obedient and disciplined um, was always my thing. So just in that, just staying disciplined and obedient, that's all God wants us to be so He can give us what we want. He'll give us our needs before our wants, but He'll still give you what you want. So just remember, uh, God will give you what you need first, and He'll give you what you want. That's the God that I serve. So I like your mindset. Can someone who feels defeated due to overcoming failure mindset, no matter how things look, with someone? Okay. I mean, just take a look. So whenever you're feeling defeated and you want to overcome a failure mindset, no matter how things look, just take a look back and reflect on the things that you have came through, that you've broken through, that you had a testimony about, right? In order to succeed, you must fail. You think about weight training, you know, you max reps, you fail, right? You can only do so many reps, but that strengthens you and it helps you learn on what you need to do next or how to do it better so you can be stronger in the weight room. So if you take that with your mindset, just because you fail, it's a learning lesson. And just take a look back at all the things that you've been through and give yourself some grace. I think that's the main thing, giving yourself grace uh, for the things that you failed at, right? Grace is the main thing. So always show yourself some grace, no matter what failure it is in sport. If you didn't feel like you had a good game, if you feel like you didn't have a great day, just remember grace is the key thing when you fail. So that wraps up the show for this morning. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can click the notification bell and receive the notification for YouTube Live. I'm thankful for everybody on this show. I'm thankful for You Me Radio. Thankful for the weekend show. I'm grateful to be alive. I thank God. Thank you, Jesus, for today. I hope everyone has a blessed morning and a blessed day and a blessed weekend. Be safe during this Halloween and trust yourself, right? Trust yourself to overcome these obstacles because you have that strength. You have that foundation, right? You have that foundation. And keep training your mind, keep training your body and your spirit so you can be strong in all areas, strengthen every area so you lack nothing. Believe in yourself, love yourself for who you are, and trust yourself and know that you can do it. That wraps up the show for Get Fit Mind, Body, and Soul. I thank you, and I will see you next weekend at 7:30 Eastern, or sorry, 8:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Central Time. So thank you, and have a blessed day.
The name of my book is Reborn. And Reborn is a story, a personal story about my journey from a place of despair to fulfilling God's purpose in my life. I have gone through a lot of challenges, a lot of, things that happened to me in my childhood all the way to my adulthood. And the Lord impressed on my heart to write my story, to share with others, because, one thing about me, I'm transparent. And I believe when you share your testimony is to help somebody else get out of their situation. Because a lot of us go through a lot of changes, a lot of challenges in life. Especially, I grew up in the church world, a very strict environment, very religious environment. And it had a lot of, stressors in my life. I didn't know who I was as a little girl. I grew up with parents. My father was a pastor, and I was totally lost in this church world. I didn't know who I was, or if I was worth anything, or if I had any type of purpose in life. So my vision about God was so warped because I never thought God loved me the way they presented it. So I was a very lonely young lady. I had a lot of low self-esteem. So I was just really trying to maneuver and to find my way, through life. So it was God who helped me through the process, even though I wasn't focusing on Him as much. I want to share something, and chapter 2, page 17, Forsaken. I just want to read a little excerpt of it. And it says, in 1975, as I attended middle school and the family moved to a large 4-bedroom apartment building, it was at this situation things began to worsen for me. For instance, I was punished a lot. At times I never understood why. My father never believed that Christians told lies. For instance, if someone from the church would report to him that they saw me somewhere and was doing something wrong, I would deny it. However, I would be told that I was a liar and received the beating for it. So I became so tired of constantly being blamed and beaten for situations where I didn't have any idea. So I tried harder to be good, but noticed each time I tried, it wasn't enough. And I realized that each time I would speak things, my mother would tell me to be quiet. And after a while, she developed a resentment to me. And, so I struggled a lot to be a part of a family. I struggled a lot to be seen. I struggled a lot to be loved. And this book is to help others who are struggling to find out who they are and find out their identity and who they are in God and whose they are, because it's so important to find who you are, you find yourself, because once you know who you are and knows whose you are in God, your life changes, and then you're on a path where you're evolving and growing and building, and you are increasing in self-esteem. And the more you understand yourself, is the better you are how to handle situations in your life and even handle people, to work with people and to really learn how to be empathetic, learn how to, reach out in some way, shape, or form and to be where, can be there in the moment with that person, because you understand where they're coming from, because you see a lot of what they're being challenged with is the same thing that you were dealing with in the past. So when God delivered me, I was able to share this story in order to help others to heal. I'm coming from someplace, a place of darkness, a new me came forth, and I'm like, God, this is a powerful title, because it sends a message, that when God rejuvenates your life, it's like you're into a new person. You're very different, it's like you're starting over again from scratch, it's like, wow, it's a new day, a new dawn, so this title was so fitting for, my journey and where I came from.
International.